When you're ready.
Okay, my name's Daniel Cotton. I'm the current curriculum manager for the Department of Personal Training and Sports Therapy. Been with the college now as an employee for over 10 years, joined in February 2008. So yes, I've just had my 10-year anniversary.
Okay, that's great. So we sort of want to get background information. So what sort of made you want to get into fitness?
Okay, so I've always been involved in sport and a bit more generalised as sport. So I suppose by definition I'm probably a failed athlete. I was trying to make it as a career within cricket when I was young and at school and A-levels, but unfortunately just never kind of sort of made it to receive a professional contract. Made it quite close, but just not close enough. Then went to work for quite a while out, and I worked in business and finance, and then had a bit of an epiphany and decided that I wanted to become a teacher. So I actually went to university quite later in life. I was 28 when I went and went back to study for a degree within PE and sport, and with a view of going on to kind of teaching from there.
Okay, so that's great. So out of where you've worked, why did you sort of choose North Kent College over some other colleges or schools?
I think probably the reason why I chose North Kent College was I saw it as quite a good opportunity to really kind of, it was viewed as to kind of sort of start my teaching career there. It obviously a large organisation, it was well structured, well managed. It was quite local. I felt it was quite familiar and I could relate to the students that I was working with. And to be honest with you, that's never really changed over the course of the 10 years that I've been here. I suppose as a teacher, you probably may start a position as a newly qualified teacher and then move on to the next and so on from there. But I've managed to kind of sort of progress myself within the college, so I've had no need to really leave.
Okay, that's great. So obviously, you've got quite a big role within the sports department, so you must be making quite a big decisions. So where would you sort of like to, what in sort of say 5-10 years time, where would you like to see your sports department? What would you change? How would you like to see it grow?
I think as a department, I think I'd like us in the short term to kind of sort of stabilise in regards to the success and outcome that our students have. So not only just achieving their qualifications, which they do and do reasonably well, but equally make sure that they get the destination, so the careers that they want. And the idea is that they're finishing their course with a career step already in place, and that's really going to be what my vision is over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it might be, that when a student enrolls at the end of a couple of years when they finish, they're either going on to university or they're going into a job. That's what I'd like.
So if we sort of take it down to a specific, the gym within the department, who is allowed to use the gym inside and outside of college?
Okay, inside college, obviously any sports student is allowed to do that. Part of their induction programme is to actually have a gym induction, so they would be fully legal, as it were, from a health and safety perspective, that they can use the gym in an unsupervised manner. We obviously have a lot of lessons going on in there as well, so we, the students would use it in that kind of sort of capacity. It's open for staff. It isn't open to other students from other departments as it stands at the moment, just purely because of the volume of numbers that it might attract, and it is fundamentally a teaching resource anyway. So, but we wouldn't be too adverse to students maybe using it after 5 o'clock if they wanted to, and the centre was open.
And is that the same for people who don't go to this college? So are they allowed to use it who don't go to this college?
Yep, that's true. Only in the evening though. So that's the idea, is that we have quite a few external hirers of the sports centre anyway, and any kind of spectators and things like that are welcome to use the gym, and we ask for like a donation, but they have to have a gym induction.
Okay, that's great. So obviously the gym, it's not the biggest gym in the world, it's a pretty small gym, but it's got the equipment that you need.
Yep.
Would you like to see an increase of size in the gym? If so, what would you add to the gym to sort of
Certainly, yeah. I probably wouldn't change the size of the gym. I think that as a teaching resource, it's okay. It's fine. There's possibly in some areas a lot of equipment in there, but it does really what it's meant to do. I don't think we've got any other rooms that would be bigger. What I would like to do is probably get some mirrors in there around the treadmills and kind of sort of freshen up with new kind of new equipment. But one of the developments I'd like to see over the course of the next few years is for the department to establish a strength and conditioning room somewhere else. So on top of that is a separate kind of sort of strength and conditioning gym. That's as well I'd like to say.
So your department, do you have any plans in store for your department to sort of make it more attractive to people to come? So not necessarily within, or well, maybe within your department or other departments. Is there any plans in store for the future to bring anyone else?
I think in the short term, it's to stabilise numbers and to grow the numbers within the remit of the department. What I don't want to do is to grow it too quickly, because then you lose the structure of the staff and things like that. I'd like to maintain the numbers certainly for next academic year, with a view that then we can start to increase provision in certain areas. What you don't want to do is to flood the market with in-personal training. You could take on, 60 personal trainers, but there's got to be jobs for them at the end of it. And I'd rather have almost a bit more selective with who follows personal training, because if you put 60 qualified personal trainers into this local area, it will just flood the market and no one will get jobs. So you've got to be quite strategic with that type of thing.
Okay. So as a whole, why is sport and fitness important to you, and why do you think it would be important to other people?
Why it's important to me, it's just something I've always known. I've always kind of sort of enjoyed the team and individual side of sport. As a keen golfer as well, I kind of like the competitiveness against yourself. It's provided me with a lot of grounding, it's provided me with a direction. It was probably the thing that kept me on the straight and narrow when I was a lot younger. Just having that obsession about training and being better or being the best you can be. Whether you make it or not, it's a bit irrelevant. It kind of gives you that focus. It develops your soft skills, your communication and your listening and your social skills with people. So I've kind of got a lot of that out of sport. And as a believer in that, I think with more people being involved in sport for maybe longer in their educational life, I think it kind of sort of it provides that kind of sort of that grounding that you need.
Okay, so to that same question, how would you relate that to college, so your department?
I think what we try to do within the wider sports department is to kind of sort of develop that kind of sort of culture and ethos, sort of thing. We obviously have quite a few football teams here and a football academy, and to be fair, their success on the pitch is only kind of achievable if they have that kind of cohesion off the pitch, sort of things, and they recognise everyone's strengths and they work together to try and improve that. So it's that type of ethos that kind of sort of that you will see that will get the best out of people.
Okay, so coming back to you, obviously this is your career.
Yep.
In NKC. What are sort of your future goals? Whether would it be in sport, would it be in somewhere else? What's the plans for your future?
My future, I think I'm relatively, although I've been here a long time, I'm relatively new in the schemes of a curriculum manager. I'm 1 year in post. I was the assistant curriculum manager for about 3 years before that, so I've kind of sort of got a good understanding of the role, and but under official titles, probably only 1 year in post. I suppose what I'd like to do is consolidate that in the short term and have 2 successful years with it. But personally, I'd quite like to develop and kick on maybe to assistant principal, vice principals, and maybe one day somewhere, who knows, maybe even a principal, be it at a college or a school or anything like that.
Would that be your end goal, basically?
I think would be to remain in education and work my way up the kind of the hierarchical structure, really. That was what I quite like management and the leadership side of things, so certainly to move into a senior leadership team would be my next step. Okay,
and final question. So obviously you get a lot of new students coming in each year.
Yep.
Obviously your job's sort of to look after and make sure their health and safety is right, make sure they're sort of focused on their career. But what advice would you give to someone new starting within the gym, within fitness or within sport in general?
Someone who's pursuing a career in sport, is that what you like to...
So we'll say pursuing a career, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think really it's kind of sort of, we have a bit of a mixed bag. It's that reality of what they want to do. Some of them obviously want to work within the sports industry, which could be anything from retail to, you know, kind of working for governing bodies or working for a leisure centre and things like that. And then obviously you've got the other students that are pursuing maybe a professional career, you know, sort of thing within the sport or the discipline that they actually strive to achieve. Not just personal training. We have a vast, you know, we've got boxers, gymnasts, golfers, the whole lot. And I suppose really it's about setting those expectations. Those ones that are clearly quite close to a professional career, we try to support and nurture them through the academic side of things to ensure that they can focus enough time to achieve that. With the students that are on that career pathway of maybe working within sport, it's more about kind of narrowing down what type of work they want to do within sport. And then from there, kind of sort of help guiding and shaping them to make the right sort of choices at the right time, be it going into higher education or seeking voluntary work or whatever it might be.
Okay, that's it. All right, thank you for that.
All right.